Welcome to the channel. I have a good one for you. As you've seen, these are some Tecovas, and these are going to be my first pair of Tecovas. My first time unboxing them on the channel and my first time putting them to use. And I have a lot of good things to say, and I have some bad things to say as well. So stick around to hear what I got to say. First of all, I gotta say that I did not buy these brand new. I bought them on the used market, and they were barely used. And I'll show you right now. But I came away with a steal because these are Cayman belly, and I only got them for $220. Fantastic pair of boots. And as you can see here, it came with the box. And the box is in great condition. The paper is in great condition. Now it's obviously been torn open already because they've been worn. Let's check these boots out. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Clayton in the Cayman belly pecan color. Now this is a good looking boot. If you've been following me any length of time, then you already know how much I love a cutter or a French toe. Basically meaning I love the narrow square toe. Some are French toes, some are cutter toes, but I love them. Snip toe, not so much. That is a little closer to the pointy toe, but a cutter toe and a French toe, the narrow square is what I absolutely love because they are just kind of the best of both worlds. I feel like the wider square toe is much more casual, lends itself to much more casual. It can be dressy, but it lends itself to being much more casual, whereas the narrow square toe can be either casual or dressy. And so this is why I really love this one right here. It's closer. It's a cousin to the rounded toe. So love the fact that it's genuine Cayman. The details here on this Cayman pattern on the skin are just one of my favorite patterns of exotic boots. The Cayman belly for me, I think, is the best looking when it comes to being, again, best of both worlds, kind of dressy and kind of casual. Again, when you're talking about a Cayman belly, you're usually going to be more dressy than not. Doesn't mean that you have to be wearing a suit or some slacks. You can be dressy in a pair of jeans, but it lends itself more towards the dressy than it does the casual. And the Cayman belly, in my opinion, is about the nicest, yet it's the most subtle and best looking. It's the most uniform, simply because it's just that pattern there. It's just very uniform, and it lays rather flat on the silhouette of the boot, rather than, say, Cayman neck or the hornback. Those all have a little bit of protruding, and some of that's kind of nice and it's kind of showy. But the Cayman belly is by far my favorite pattern of crocodile, in the way it just looks on the boot. And then when it comes to this pecan, just the way it stands out with the darker portions and the lighter portions, and then the pitting on some of the Cayman belly. So it is a fantastic looking boot. And of course, Tecovas, we're talking quality. Now, the pros: looks great, feels great. The quality of this leather is high end, very soft, very supple. Looks great, feels great. Love the colors. The attention to detail is there. Single stitch, love it. And as you can see, like I said, they are used, but I mean, look at them. Look at them. They look great. Now, this is what gives it away, obviously. Here's a couple of other things. You can see that, and I'll show you in the close-ups. There's a little nick there. That's noticeable. The other blemish is right here. Now, you're not going to see it from way back here, but you will see it in the close-ups, and I'll show it to you. But from where I stand, it's right here. Now, this is not a problem. As you can see here, the focus is on my face, so now you can see it's close and it's in focus. It's about where you're going to be seeing them on my feet. You can't really see it. But as I'm showing you in the close-ups right now, there is a nick in the skin. This is why I am a proponent of prints. Now just hear me out. There are a lot of people who are like, prints, I can't do it, it's fake. The reason why I like prints is this thing came out, I believe when it came out, this is a discontinued boot. They don't make this one anymore. They've replaced it with a wider square toe boot. That one is priced right now, if you buy it at regular price, it's about $640 at the time of this video. This boot was about $460 when it came out, around there. And I think this was released around 2020, 2021. So yeah, it was like the end of 2020. So this boot retailed for about $460. Like I said, I got it for $220, and I think I got a steal for that. Does have the little nick, but again, I am a proponent of prints because, for one, your $460 investment now has taken a big dip. It's going to take a dip because they're shoes. You're going to wear them. They're boots. They're footwear. You're going to wear them, right? And so you're going to hit things. But in hitting things, you can scratch up and damage the very thing that you paid money for. When I think about prints, I'm like, these are things that I can wear all the time. And I can wear, you know, if it's, let's just say I want to wear something that looks nice, but I know I'm going to be hitting things, or I know I'm going to be, you know, knocking them around a bit. Maybe you're going to go dancing or something like that. That can ruin your Caymans. But if you get a good quality print, like I've talked about on this channel before, get something that's really nice. That's something that you can put on all the time. And that, particularly when it comes to pythons, that's what I really like, because you can get really creative with python prints more than you can with some of this other stuff. Now, I am a proponent of, actually, I bought these, right? But there's only so much that I'm going to pay for them. I think the most that I've paid for a pair of exotic boots was about $320. And that's about as high as, you know, I can bring myself to go. But those are some ostrich skin boots, and those are going to be on the way in another review here pretty soon. So I said a lot of good things about these boots, but what are some of the negatives? I do have some negatives, and here they are. The biggest negative for me, and the reason why I won't be keeping this boot, is because it's not sized properly. And I want you to take a look at this. I'm looking over at my monitor, so if you see me looking that way, that's why. I want you to take a look at this here. Okay, you can see that. These are both size 13D. It doesn't look that way, does it? And as I've shared on my channel before, these are a pair of Ariats, and they're a 13D. I wear a 13EE. These fit really tight right here for me. So either I have to break them in, or I have to let them go. And I've purchased a few Ariats that were 13D, and I had to send them back because they were just too tight. And as you can see here, these guys are not only shorter. Let them rest on the box there. Now they're heel to the box, and you can still see there's a big difference. Now, when I put these on, I don't feel it from front to back. They don't feel too small from the front to back. Where I feel the difference is right here. And these are already tight on me. These are even tighter. And I believe because they are the exotic Caymans, the way that they're lined on the inside is like with the reinforced leather. In other words, the leather on the inside, because this is only a topping, right? And I believe that there's some cowhide underneath this, because when it comes to some of these exotic leathers, most of these exotic leathers, other than like elephant and other super heavy duty skins, stuff like this, they're very easy to puncture, especially when you're talking about ostrich. But they're reinforced with a thick leather on the bottom. So when I wore these, I could not break them in. I wore them for a few hours, and they were breaking me in. They were painful. And I had my wife bring me a different pair. I was at church and she hadn't come yet, so she brought me another pair in the car, and I was able to change out because I was about ready to just take them off and go barefoot for the little while. It was that much pain in my foot. So they're 13D, but they don't fit like a 13D, and so I'll have to list that in this. But I have no doubt somebody's going to purchase these because they're fantastic looking boots, and when somebody gets their hands on them, and perhaps that's why they discontinued this entire line. So they had the Cayman, the exotics, then they also had the regular cowhide leather, they had the rough out, they had the different models of this style of boot, and the whole thing has been since discontinued. And so and they still have their original boot out. They have the dock out, they have, I forgot what the original name of it, I'll put the name of it right here. That boot is still in production. This one has stopped. And I'm just wondering if it was just, the lasting was wrong. They put the wrong last, and therefore it was just the wrong size. They were up and comer. They haven't been around for that long. This is 2025 when I'm making this video. They're turning 10 years old this year. So, and this came out when they were only about 5 years old. So you can make mistakes. That being said, if you can get this fit right on you, perhaps I would have got a 13 double E or even maybe a 14D. This would have been fantastic. I wouldn't be letting these go because Cayman for 220 and Tecovas, no brainer. But unfortunately, I can't hang on to these things. I don't think I'd be stretching these out because, like I said, they're pretty tough. And not to mention, if you do stretch out stuff like Cayman, these are like weak points. These lines here, this is where the armor in a reptile is going to be the weakest. This is where it's going to be your softest. This is where usually it creases, which is fine because that looks great, right? But if I'm pushing on this, this is going to be one of the first places it tears. So I'm not gonna risk that, and I'd rather just sell it to somebody who can wear them. So that's my review on these guys. Let's check out the on-foot portion. Okay, this is the on-foot portion of the Tecovas Clayton in Cayman belly. This is the pecan color, as you can clearly see. It's a good looking boot all the way around. I cannot believe that I was able to get my hands on these. These are some great looking boots. Nice, and you can kind of dress them up, dress them down. I personally think that these are really meant to be a more dressy boot. And right now I got them in more of a casual position, but I think this was meant to go with some chinos or with some slacks, something that you can wear on a more formal occasion and look just fine. But you can still wear them with your jeans, as I'm wearing them now, with a button-down shirt, and it still look good. You're not overdoing it, you're not doing too much, and it can still look good. And so, unfortunately, these things are just a little bit too narrow for me to keep. So I'm actually going to have to get rid of them, which is kind of a sad situation because I really, really wanted some exotic Cayman belly boots. Cayman belly is my favorite design of all of the crocodile and alligator styles. I know that the hornback and all that good stuff, the neck, all that is nice cuts, but this is my personal favorite because it's just the nicest looking. It is the nicest looking. But all that being said, maybe on another try, but these are definitely not, even just right now, as I'm just doing this short little on-foot portion, my feet are screaming at the edges. And if you could just look at the feet, it ends up being just a little too much. It's too tight, and I can only deal with this for so long before I'm ready to just take them off and be done with them. And that is the on-foot portion, and that is my total review of these guys. If you can find them on the used market for cheap, just keep that in mind that these guys run a little bit small. So order a size up, as I don't think it's just these guys all by themselves. I think it's the whole line of boots. So anyway, that's my review of these Claytons, and I will see you guys on the next one.